You know, a lot has changed since the days of Condoleezza Rice in government. A woman who, by all accounts, is highly, highly intelligent and a very good person, right? What hasn't changed since those days is the left's view of women and minorities as some sort of monolith, right? And a monolith they're basically duty bound to do and say only as the Democrat establishment commands. And I found a really, really great clip of Condoleezza Rice on The View. And honestly, I have no idea why someone like her would even waste their time going on that show. I mean, the only thing I can think is that it's because she really, really is a true believer and she was just speaking directly to the abused and victimized 2 million tortured souls that actually watch that show every day. And if that was her goal, man, God bless her for one. And I think she absolutely freaking nailed it.
First of all, let me be very clear. I said at the time, January 6th was wrong. I called it an assault on law and order and an assault on our democratic processes. So full stop, it was wrong. Law enforcement will determine what happened there, and those who violated the law ought to be punished. I think what Senator McConnell may be referencing is, yes, it's time to move on in a lot of ways. I'm one who believes that the American people are now concerned about their what we call kitchen table issues, the price of gasoline, inflation. We ought to move on to the next generation, move ahead and deal with the American people's issues.
That's all they ever want to talk about. They only want to talk about the new Democrat holiday of January 6th. And January 6th continues to just highlight the real differences and the important differences between the left and the right. I mean, there has not been one reasonable or credible conservative who has ever supported or condoned the violence on January 6th or any other violence. I mean, every single reasonable person has condemned it. And like Condoleezza Rice, I mean, that is a full stop. Juxtapose that with the left, and they are literally, at their worst, they condone and support and fan the flames of violence that just because it suits their political agenda. And at their very, very best, they completely ignore it. You know, we see it now with all the new hating of Jews with all these college crazies. You know, there are people that will literally pretend that they haven't even heard any anti-Semitism. They haven't heard about that, or I haven't seen any examples of violence. They just ignore it. They just completely ignore it. You know, people see it. And honestly, it's impossible to just discredit her message. Unless, of course, you're Sunny Hostin. You know, something tells me that she's got a special kind of hate. Sunny Hostin, I think, has a special kind of hate for women like Condoleezza Rice.
It's really politically expedient for Mitch McConnell to say, let's move on, let's move on. The problem is that past will become prologue if we don't find out exactly what happened January 6th.
And we will.
So it's not time now.
We will find out.
We must find out before moving on.
We will find out. But I'm going to tell you, I live in California, not Washington, D.C. And the American people do have other concerns that we ought to be thinking about and talking about.
Respectfully, Madam Secretary, I think
let me finish. I also know that as a government and as a country, we've got to be concerned about the things that are making life hard for Americans and hard for American families.
These people do not care about finding out what happened on January 6th, man. When they talk about finding out, what they really mean is they want to talk about it. And by talk about it, I mean they want to push the narrative down your throat as hard as they can until everyone believes just exactly as they're told. They do not care about finding out what happened. I mean, these are the same people, you'll remember, that completely lost their minds when Tucker Carlson released more information that didn't fit what they thought should be found out, which is the exact same approach that Sunny Hostin takes here with Condoleezza. Constant interruptions. I mean, she's basically saying, no, Madam Secretary, there are no legitimate concerns aside from protecting democracy. Nothing is important but this. I mean, and you know what? When you're a paid propagandist limousine liberal, I mean, maybe that's true, but the secretary's right. In the grand scheme of things, people do not care. So, of course, Sonny then just brings up something else most real people don't actually care about. Race. Big surprise. But it's Sunny Hostin. She's the race baiter. Just listen to this.
The whole issue of critical race theory and what is and is not being taught. I come out of an academic institution, and this is something that academics debate. What is the role of race and so forth? And let me be very clear. I grew up in segregated Birmingham, Alabama. I couldn't go to a movie theater or to a restaurant with my parents. I went to segregated schools till we moved to Denver. My parents never thought I was going to grow up in a world without prejudice, but they also told me that's somebody else's problem, not yours. You're going to overcome it, and you are going to be anything you want to be. And that's the message that I think we ought to be sending to kids.
Wow. What a woman, man. What a message. And what a reminder to these people. I mean, she literally grew up in the segregated South and segregated Alabama. And here she is having to set some of the world's most prominent race baiters straight on where exactly we are today and how far we've come. And really, I mean, man, her story about adapting and about overcoming, about the values and the mindset that her parents drilled into her, none of that is possible in this new world that these Democrats envision, where everyone is either an oppressed or an oppressor. I mean, a conversation like this just does not happen. I mean, this woman, Condoleezza Rice's impact on the world does not happen if her parents taught her that she was just born oppressed and all of her faults and all of her failures are because of someone else. I mean, some evil, straight white male Republican somewhere. I really don't think we really recognize how dangerous and how damaging these philosophies really are.
One of the worries that I have about the way that we're talking about race is that it either seems so big that somehow white people now have to feel guilty for everything that happened in the past. I don't think that's very productive. Or black people have to feel disempowered by race. I would like black kids to be completely empowered, to know that they are beautiful in their blackness. But in order to do that, I don't have to make white kids feel bad for being white. So somehow this is a conversation that has gone in the wrong direction.
This is exactly what these people think, man. They really do believe that you are either oppressed or you're an oppressor. I mean, even though they themselves, Whoopi Goldberg and Sunny Hostin, they literally prove all this nonsense wrong. I think they really do think that they're somehow special, even though I think it's pretty clear that they are not at all special. They're not even remotely special. They're lucky, but they're not special. I mean, that's it. I mean, I promise you, when they sit across from a strong, powerful, intelligent, successful black woman and they hear her talking about, white kids shouldn't have to feel bad because they're white, I promise you, they think she's some kind of extremist. It's such a foreign concept to them, man. Like anything else rooted in fact or common decency or common sense, it just doesn't make sense. As abhorrent as these people are, at least we see who they are, right? And what they're trying to do to the rest of us. But that's just my take, man. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.